Hi, today I'm gonna talk about sponsored display. So it's gonna be highly detailed video, highly technical. So once you're finished with it, you will be absolutely informed how to create a properly sponsored display campaign, start to finish on every possible detail there is. So every possible optimization strategy, every targeting there is. So if you're into Amazon PPC, stay with me. So once we started to create new campaign, the regular process, select if you want to go with sponsored products, sponsored brands, sponsored display. Once you click there, you will be presented with the campaign name, of course. Now, I fully recommend that you use proper naming convention for sponsored display. We always use SD, then dash, and then depending if it's the audience targeting or competitor targeting, if it's audience, we're going to do SD dash AU, and then whatever it is, for example, product name, let's say product name or product family or whatever. If you're using portfolio, do that, but for portfolio, make sure to skip and uncheck the option to share budgets. I don't like that option, and it can create some issues that are undesirable. For daily budget, I don't know why they recommend to start with $100 because I don't see that happening in the future. I like to hit it with 20 to 30 at the maximum because typically, if you don't use any campaign bidding optimization, bids can go really high. So you don't want to be burning budget on this one until you're sure if it's going to work or not. Then for the ad format, ad group, you can name it or you can just skip it. But for ad format, you want to select if it's going to be image or video. I encourage you to test both because it's about what your audience is gonna like or not, and if it's already saturated or not. Then for products, select your products. Now, Amazon recommends that you use as many products as possible for sponsored display for the whole system to work properly, but I also like to segregate it. If it's only certain product with certain characteristics or some other one. Now the fun part: optimization strategy. You have three options available: reach, page visits, and conversions. Now, reach sounds interesting, but what's bad about the reach optimization strategy is that you will be billed for every 1,000 viewable impressions. And a viewable impression is considered when your product is visible for more than 50% on the page for more than 1 second, which isn't that bad. But what's bad about the VCPM campaigns is the fact that it will inflate your sales number. So just to cut the story short, I don't recommend going that way ever in the future. But if you want to experiment with that and see what I'm talking about, you can hit that one small campaign, hit the reach, set the reach goal, and add your targeting, whatever you like, and you will see what I'm talking about. So you will see the A cost is 2% on those, which is really not the case, unfortunately. In majority of cases, you want to go with page visits and conversion simply because it's the CPC, the good old one that we all know how to optimize. So cost per click, and in both cases. Now, if you use cost control option from Amazon, then these make sense because if you select page visits or conversions, you will have the ability for page visits. You will see these cost control options that you can select how much you want to pay for click up to $1, for example. And if you select optimize for conversions, then you can set how much you're willing to pay per order. Now, both cases are worth exploring. Now, I usually deselect this one, but you have to have in mind that when you select this one, your cost per click can go really, really high. And then you will just have to be well organized with your task management system and get to this campaign very often to prevent unexpected spend, because clicks can go as high as $3 to $5 on regular categories. I'm not telling about high spending competitive categories, but regular categories you will very often see the recommended bids for $3 to $4, as you will see in below example. If you're not using cost control, then whatever you decide to select doesn't matter because it's just the cost per click based bidding. That's it. But just for the sake of it, let's take a page visit one. So once again, if you select cost control, you will have some way of controlling cost per click, but you have to think realistically about it. If your average CPC in this account is $3, do not put cost per click, expect cost per click here $1. You have to be realistic. So if all the others are at 3, give this a 3. And also if it's a cost per click that high, then you wanna rethink the daily budget. If you with $20 will only get what 6 clicks. My math is right. 6 clicks and you already depleted your budget. So if it's that competitive, then you can definitely go at 100 per day. And also for the conversions, for the cost per order or cost per acquisition, whatever you like to call it, also, Amazon recommends that your cost per order, if it's, I don't know, 15, they will very often recommend to achieve this outcome, consider a budget that is at least 5 times higher than this value. So take that with a grain of salt, but anyway, test it a little bit. And to set the proper cost per order, you should also reference your current cost per orders for the other campaigns that you already have for sponsored products and sponsored brands, and test it out a little bit. Go lower, go higher, and see what works. Because I'm gonna skip this now because I think you will understand what was going on here. Now, what's new is that for conversions here, when you optimize for conversions, you have this option selected by default. Reach audiences like to be interested in your ad. This is fairly new, and you can select, I want to be bidding for whatever the audience Amazon thinks are relevant, and I'm going to bid $1. No, something like that. They select here, I have an issue because I haven't selected any product over here, so I don't have any more options to select from. So you can select to completely disable this one. So you don't want Amazon to reach any audiences that you don't want them to. It's a black box basically. If you don't like that, you can easily disable it. But I would, for example, I would hit this and select a bid, and I would create separate campaign with this optimized targeting, and then I want to create a different sponsored display campaign for manual targeting. For this occasion, we're gonna remove that and just hit add manual targeting, and you will be presented with good old options here. Now, this is where we go into a lot of details. So contextual targeting, reach audiences who are browsing products and content matching criteria you choose. Sounds confusing. Here you have two options. You have categories where you can have suggested categories. I don't have them here because I don't want to reveal the products that I'm currently advertising, but you will have some suggestions. You can try them, but don't trust them completely. So categories and individual products. For categories, you can also go to browse, and then you will see all of these different ones. And I encourage you to go through all of them simply because it's beneficial for you to know what's available out there. Now, then again, with the now Rufus being renamed to Alexa, I think this will be more and more popular to explore a little bit what's possible for reaching out users through Alexa skills. There's a really plethora of options over here. Then, when we go back, the next up is remarketing audiences. Now, it's fairly simple. There are basically two options. You have views remarketing and you have purchases remarketing. For views remarketing, simply put, it's just if you put your products over here, so and you can define reach audiences only from people who actually seen my products, or if it's something that's worth to your category or the type of product, if it's a consumable or any sort of that repeat purchases are valuable to you, you can select to use purchases, and then you will chase basically your previous purchases for the number of days that you select. And for both for views and for purchases, you have the ability to select 7 days, 14 days, 360, and all of this, like purchases up to 365 days. And for views, I think it's a little bit shorter. For views, only up to 90 days. How to know how much to select? For example, for views, typically when you use views, you want to chase and retarget those people who viewed your product but haven't bought anything from you. How to know what's the reasonable date range? You can go to the Amazon Marketing Cloud and select time to conversion report. It's point and click report. You won't be surprised. You won't be perplexed how to use it. So just select time to conversion, select the date range, select the products around on for all of your catalog, and then you will see the exact moment after people see your ad, how many days or minutes pass before they buy. And you will see is it if majority of purchase decisions are being made in the first 2 days, it doesn't make any sense to remarket your product viewers for 60 or 90 days. So you would, in that case, you would select 7 days and then just add that audience. You have to be careful to select advertised products. You don't want to select similar to advertised products because that's basically category targeting in a nutshell. Because whatever is similar to your product, those are all of your competitors. That's completely different targeting. But for basic views remarketing, you want to go for advertised product, select a look back period, and then adjust the bid. If, for example, you have selected the automation, sorry, not the automation, but the optimized bidding for page views or conversions, this would be grayed out, and you wouldn't be able to select the actual bid. And then let's say I would never put both of these into one campaign, both purchases and views, because you can only control the budget on the campaign level. And what if some of these, if you put, let's say, $30 of campaign budget for these two targeting options, it may be that purchasers remarketing is gonna suck all of the budget away from the other guy, and it's just gonna be a waste of time while you wait for that one to perform. Next up is in-market audiences, and we have to cover interest and lifestyle audiences, and then of course custom audiences from the Amazon Marketing Cloud. In-market audiences, as the name says, so reach audiences whose recent activity suggests they're likely to buy products in a certain category. So in-market is based on the recent activity. If people from that audience were browsing products similar to yours, or their buying habits are something that Amazon thinks that they're eligible to see and buy your products potentially. So when you select that, you can go to browse. Again, if you've selected, depending on which products you selected in the product section, then your suggestions will be listed here. They're very useful, but again, I encourage you to go into browse and then go through these individual audiences. It's really a big list depending on your product, but I encourage you to go and select multiple of these. It would be too much if you separate these targeting options into every little sponsored display campaign. But I encourage you to try, for example, and group them by 5 or at least at maximum at 10 different in-market audiences. And then if some of these is working really well and the others don't, same as the keyword targeting or product targeting, then you would have to separate them, leave the one which is performing really good, and then extract all the others and create them into a new campaign. It may be time consuming to go through all of these, and it takes a little bit of a creativity to figure it out what kind of audience could be useful for you. Now, yes, you could get some ideas from Amazon Marketing Cloud, but if you're not comfortable with that, I encourage you just go up and on Google or use any LM that you like to use, your favorite AI, and say, "Oh, this is my product," and provide the big context on what you're looking for, and then say, okay, which kind of audiences I may target, and it will be a big time saver for you. Similar to that is the interest and lifestyle audiences. The difference is in the definition. So reach audiences whose shopping and entertainment activities suggest certain interests or lifestyle preferences. Again, browse mode, suggested mode, all the same, and then you can select do they own a car or whatever, the vehicle type, then interested in car and crossover vehicle, whatever. It's pretty simple, and it's similar. These are kind of similar but different audiences. So the first one, as I said, recent activity, and this one, the second one, interest and lifestyle, is shopping and entertainment activity. So if they're watching certain movies that are, I don't know, if that makes them suitable for targeting for your products. It can be creepy, but sometimes it really works well. And the last one is the custom audiences. Custom audiences you created in Amazon Marketing Cloud. So whatever you created there, it's going to be appearing here if they're eligible. So if you created audiences who are big enough, so over 2,500 people, then those kind of audiences will be shown here. If it's less than that, you're doomed. You cannot use them, fortunately, but there is a workaround that I've shared on our channel how to easily overcome that obstacle where you don't have enough people in your audience. And then you select them as well, you put the bid, and then you're done with that targeting. Now it looks like similar to what we can see in DSP in the past. It was completely different. Once you're done with that, the campaign, and you just wait. I encourage you to also check in first 2 or 3 hours to see if there's any issue with the campaign. Is it ineligible for whatever reason, or the ad? If you had a video, maybe video is suspended because it violates the guidelines and rules around that, or for the image as well. And then keep looking at it. Sometimes spend can explode. Sometimes it can just be dead completely. So you have to be there for several days to until it catches up. I hope it was very useful. It was like a little bit technical for you if you're not that into PPC, but I think it will be easy for you to follow and create new sponsored display campaigns, because a lot of brands are sleeping on sponsored display, and sponsored display, when used properly, in addition with sponsored brands and sponsored products, has a magnificent cumulative effect. Again, holistic PPC is what we aim for. Let me know if you have any further questions in the comments, and see you tomorrow in the next video. Bye bye.